Call, please. Who is it? Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Welcome you all to the last class, the business analysis module. Trust you're having a restful weekend. If you're with me, okay, so we're live on Facebook now. Sorry, we're live on YouTube. Pardon. We're live on YouTube now, so you can watch us live on YouTube. I'll also connect to YouTube on the device. Live on YouTube. Okay. Looking to have a great time with you today, and I'm happy to hear your questions, talk about the project, talk about your submissions. Yeah, so I will go. So one of the things we'll do now is we'll begin to review submissions to the project. I'm using two screens, so my attention, my gaze might shift every once in a while. So I'm going to be looking through the project, and please feel free to drop questions. I can see your questions here. So feel free to drop questions. Feel free to request clarification. So we're reviewing the solution, project case study solution from our last class. So it's a canteen project. So we identified a large FMCG looking to optimize their business processes. So some of the things that they noticed was that the members of staff spent too much time to and from the canteen, and the business was losing productive hours to time spent to the canteen and back. We've commissioned a team of business analysts to evaluate the situation, to recommend solutions, and to to address certain requirements, business requirements. So you have I have a master solution here, but I won't project it. I'd like to review your answers. So I don't think there's a need for us to go question. I'd like for this class to be an interactive one, so that I do not just confuse myself. So I appreciate you to drop messages. I know so some of the students have reached out to me over the past couple of weeks with questions, or some of them with queries. So you can ask these questions now while we're on this while the session is on. Please feel free to ask me questions. And take your questions while we're here. Log on to the live chat now. Okay, so I'm opening up the response from one of the mentees. See a response from Bolu Omosheyin. Bolu Omosheyin, I'm going to be reviewing your response. We'll talk about this. So Bolu Omosheyin, project task. I think I'll project Bolu's solution so that we can all learn from it. I'm going to project Bolu's solution in a minute. Okay, I hope you all can see my screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, can you see my screen? Can someone confirm if they can see my screen, please? I want to be sure my screen is live. So I'm looking at Bolu Omoshen's submission. So the first task is to list the stakeholders. Create a list of stakeholders as taught in business analysis schema. Okay. So stakeholder requirements are the detailed list of requirements of the stakeholders. Now, a list of stakeholders as does, it says the customer, who is the employee, that's fine. The canteen manager, who is the order processor. The menu manager, I'm not sure I know what the menu manager is in this context. And the delivery boy, yes. The payroll system, yes. Management, yeah, that's good. I think this is a good list, stakeholder list. It pretty much captures the key stakeholders. So when it goes on to the problem statement, to state the problem. So problem statements, customers do not get the desired menu, and the stress of going back and forth to the canteen, excess time is consumed for getting lunch. So okay, that's fairly sums it up. So it had become an issue that apart from the fact that the business was losing time, losing money uh, to time, a lot of time spent in going to and from the canteen. They also experienced wastage. People, food was wasting because people did not find their choice. So they had to do something about the menu, and it was important for them to find a way to ensure that only the right quantity of food is prepared. So this solution is supposed to solve that problem. So we have a menu that gets updated all the time. So if we have dish A, B, and C, in real time as people place order, the quantity left to be updated. So we know that if once dish A is exhausted, it will no longer be available on the menu. So before you place an order from your desk or from home or when in transit, you already know that the food you are making placing an order for is available. So yeah, they needed to deal with that. Of course, so you talked about stress. So yeah, if you study the case study, the canteen as the canteen can only take 150 people at a time, and they have about 1,500 members of staff. It means that there has to be 10 different sets of people. So imagine how much time to take for 150 people to occupy a canteen, order, wait for their food, finish eating, vacate the canteen, another 150. Let's assume it's happening serially, another 150. I'm I'm even surprised it takes an hour. I would say it would take 5 hours or more for all of them to be attended to. So the objectives of the new ordering system to ensure work is done effectively, okay, reduce food wastage, okay, adequate choice of food for customers, okay, increase revenue for the business, great, forecast future food, okay, because okay, I get that based on historical reports from customers. Okay, this is fine. This is not a bad solution at all. Thank you very much for this one. Thank you. The features to be developed, web page, payroll system. Okay, so the payroll system is not going to be developed. It's a payroll system already. You just need to integrate the applications to the payroll system so that when employees place an order, they get an invoice in their email box, and by month end, the whatever cost has been incurred on food, be taken out of their salaries of their paycheck by the payroll system. So it's very much an automated process. So instead of functional and non-functional requirements, so A listed a functional requirements, internet access, okay, maybe not. Login access, okay. The carts, the menu, report requirements, auditing, canteen manager, non-functional requirements, internet security, usability. So the solution requirements are a little bit off point. Can help. Let me help by so the requirements. I think I have a list of requirements here. Okay. So let me just dish to this. So functional requirements. First and foremost, the login feature is critical. The menu feature on the application is also critical. The management application where management staff can see how much has been made, how much food has been prepared. You can see how much waste, you can see how much cost has been killed through waste and forecast. So that the management dashboard is a functional requirement. A non-functional solution requirement would be something like the theme. What's the theme of the application? I mean, the colors. How is the application designed? Theme. It's more or less to me a non-functional requirement. Basically, I think basically that's what for me. Yeah, okay, also the there's no there's the delivery boy, delivery person who does delivery also needs to have access to. So login access is pretty much the major like the solution requirement that cuts across. Delivery boy needs to have access to platform and be able to check other statuses. Then I would say that what can we think of again as solution requirements, critical to the solution. So you can also say that the order updates feature, the order updates like real time. So every point in time, once an order is placed, and it reduces the quantity of that dish available, it updates. So before you place an order, you go to the menu, you can see how many plates of pasta, for instance, you have left, or how many wraps of swallow you have left before you place your order. So yeah, those are solution requirements. And let's go back to reviewing. Please feel free to ask questions. Let me check if there are any questions yet. Let me see. Okay, no questions yet. Okay, feel free to ask a question. Okay, so you cannot see my screen. I'm sharing my screen. Oh, okay, let me see. The shows I'm seeing. Okay. Mr. Femi, I'll need you to help me with the other device. I see now that my other device is not live. That's why you can't see the screen. So if you would like, Mr. Femi, please can you bring my other device into the show so that my screen can be seen. Thank you. It makes for better interaction. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not sure that Mr. Femi is here with us. So, Mr. Timothy, I think you asked. I think there's some questions that you asked. Ujunwa is Ujunwa here? Mr. Timothy, Madam Ujunwa, Madam Onye Oyagaya. See. Okay. I'm trying to fix my screen issue. I'm trying to get my screen. I'm trying to get my screen in display. Okay, Mr. Femi, if you're here, please can you help? Can you bring my second device in the show so I can share my screen? I'm already sharing my screen, but they don't see. No one can see my screen, so I guess it's because it's not in the show. Thank you. So let's go on. While we wait for Mr. Femi, let's go on reviewing. So out of scope, okay. Okay, my screen is live now. Thank you, Mr. Femi. So my in scope and out of scope system of the system. Okay, so the element that are within scope and out of scope. Let me speak to this for a bit. Let me try to break this down. Scope is a very critical aspect of project management, and in fact of business analysis. So in a project, there's usually a clearly defined scope of work, and the scope of work is usually frozen. And if you're adopting the waterfall approach, the scope is usually frozen. Every increase in scope will result to an increase in time, project delivery duration, and also in cost. So scope is a defined it's more like a defined limit, work limit. So now if you are asked to identify activities that are within scope, within the context of this solution, and those that are without scope, out of scope. So I think it's easy. So activities that are within scope will include maintenance access, that's within the scope, uh, menu updates, that's within the scope, uh, a feature that allows members of staff to log onto the application with their staff ID, that's within scope. What else? What else within scope? Okay, a feature that allows the delivery boy check status of the orders, that's within the scope. Feature that allows management team forecast menu forecast the menu for the future, that's within scope. So the team wants to know how much of this dish should be available for the next week, for the next month. The team wants to know how much food are we wasting. So those are features that are within scope. Features that are out of scope might include payment system. Now, I understand very well the mode of payment is in this solution is direct deduction from salaries. So having a payment system integrated with this platform is out of scope because there's no use for it. So that's out of scope. What else is out of scope? Maybe we can say background music is out of scope. It's out of scope. So that's the way to understand activities that are within scope or out of scope when you are undertaking a business analysis initiative. So let's go on. We'll review somebody else's submission in a bit. So I think this is all that Bolu did. Thank you very much, Bolu. I really appreciate it. I like this. You very good attempts and everything. So I'm gonna take down Bolu's slide while I wait your questions. Okay, so Bolu is saying that you didn't get the functional and the non-functional requirements explanation. So I'll explain again. So functional requirements are requirements that are critical to the operation of the solution. These are requirements that are critical to the functionality. So of course, from the word function, these are requirements that are critical to the functionality of the solution. So now we're deploying a web application that will help organization manage the canteen. We will help them reduce waste. We will help them increase revenue. We will give them insight into how into employees' choice of dish. Now, these are the requirements. So the functional requirements are the ones that are critical to function, to functionality of the solution. Whereas the non-functional requirements are those that are not related. So let me give an example that is not the canteen system. For instance, if you're asked to deploy a payment solution, for instance, let's say you are the class governor in the class, and there's a levy that you charge that the student has to pay to the school or to the institution every month or every week, and you're supposed to deploy a payment solution. Now, a functional requirement, the key functional requirements of that payment solution will be access. People have to be able to log on to that solution. That's a functional requirement. The solution must accept different kinds of cards, like MasterCard, Visa card, Verve card. That's a functional solution. So a functional requirement. The solution must have will be integrated, of course, behind the scenes backend with a third-party payment gateway. That's a functional requirement. Yes. So you want to be able to automatically trigger invoices, send receipts, pardon me, to people that have to subscribers, to students. So that's functional requirement. So when somebody makes a payment, you want to get an email from the platform saying, "Thank you, Mr. Bolu. You received your payment of 1,000 naira." Those are functional requirements. Now, non-functional requirements are requirements that do not have any direct impact on functions. For instance, think about a payment solution. You now have a feature on that application that tells you the time in 4 parts of the world: time in Paris, time in the UK, and time in Lagos. It's fine, you can have it, but that's a non-functional requirement. It's not even a requirement in the first place. So let's say because you have students, if it's a virtual class, you have students in London, you have students in the US, students in Lagos, it's fine. So you can put it's a requirement because so you want the students to know the time they're paying. But truly it's not, it doesn't have any direct impact on the solution, on delivering the solution, because when they get their invoice, the invoice goes into their email. They have clocks and watches, and they know when they receive the email. It can be done at the back end where the timestamp on their own invoices, on their own receipts, will show in their own receipts. Okay, Chinonso Debwani. Okay, I will try to expand that. Now they'll get receipts in their own inboxes. It can have a system that converts time to their local time zones in their own country. Okay, so having a watch on display on the website, on the platform, on the payments platform, is not a functional requirement. It's a non-functional requirement. So that's a typical example. I hope you understand what I mean by functional and non-functional requirements. So let me try to increase. So I'm even taking this down, so there's no need to increase. I'm taking it down. I'm going to project another one. So let me take this down, share another solution. Someone else's solution. Okay. Let me see who else. So gross submission for okay, so nice one. Bully submitted charts, different charts, activity diagrams, and all that. Wow, this is good. This is good. Good. Okay, so Oyara submitted some charts, but I'm not able to access those charts. I guess something was not done correctly. So let's project Onye's assignments. Let's see if we can learn from it. We go from here, we go to Yaji Timothy. Okay, yeah. Solution template. It's coming up. Okay. I hope you all can see my screen now. Okay. I believe you can see my screen now. Okay, Chino, so is it clearer now? I think it should be clearer now. I increased the zoom level. Okay, so Yaji, okay, yes, materials to be shared with you. Okay, yeah, I can share with you after this session. This is our financial stream. Yeah, so let's run through one year's submission. Feel free to drop questions. Okay. Okay, so the first thing when you talk about the stakeholders. So stakeholders is trying to wants to give us insight into what each stakeholder does. So I see the first one is the employee or the customer. Okay, so what they can do on the software. Thank you. Nice approach. They can log in. They can view menu. Select food from the menu. They can place order. They can place order up until the particular time. Don't forget that up until say 11 a.m. when the kitchen starts to prepare food. Can edit order, they can review order, they can cancel order, confirm order, reject order, submit order, and review order before checkout. Fine, that's good. They should also be able to view order history. That's something we can add. So you should be able to view order history or view invoices because we want to reconcile the accounts, be sure that we're getting charged what they should. So that's a thing. The canteen manager is also a stakeholder, should be able to retrieval of order from database, see order placement, see order placed individually and collectively, update menu, adjust prices, duration of meal preparation, order forecasting. That's great, great. And then delivery boy should delivery boy cannot process order, it only picks up. So that's first, it's not, it should just be there. But delivery boy should be able to see order, so to see order status. So he knows which is ready. So see order status, be able to, of course, I think basically he needs to be able to see order status and must be able to update the order as either closed or pending, returned, delivered, or any other options that we have. So the payroll system, okay, the payroll system is, so I think this is coming up a bit, so I think it's something that I have to address. So I do not consider the payroll system as a stakeholder in this because the payroll system is a standalone application. It's just going to be integrated. So it's not something that will be deployed within this solution. It's not like we're going to be deploying the payroll system within the solution. We have it already. It's just for us to integrate. So, but let's just consider it as a stakeholder for the purpose of this discussion. So you can mention here what the payroll. Okay, so payroll system should be able to access cumulative number of meals ordered by each employee and its total cost per time. Payroll system should trigger invoices and share same with the employee by email every time an order is closed. Payroll system should auto deduct cost of new orders closed from the employee's monthly salary. So it's fine. And in this line item, okay, so show management, they should be able to see cumulative orders placed versus orders closed versus amounts generated. I think I shared this thing earlier with you guys. Then show percentage wastage due to failed orders periodically. Show revenue generated per day and how close orders. Order forecasting based on information. Determine percentage of users and measure satisfaction. Highlights most popular dishes per time. Show bill points, total earnings. So this is fine. IT, okay, order placement. So this is not stakeholder. I don't need stakeholder in this matter. So maybe if you have said the development team, maybe you guys have developed the application or the engineering team. So I think it's only the stakeholder. I think when you only listed stakeholder in this particular submission. Let me see. I think he or she only listed stakeholders. Yeah. So I'm going to open up Timothy's submission now. Yeah, I think that let me open up Timothy's submission. Okay, I'm looking for Timothy now. I see some more submission from Bolu. So maybe I'll check. I'll check again once we're done with this. Okay, I want to project this now. Okay, can you see my screen now? Can you see my screen? Okay. Mr. Femi, can you please let my other device into the show? I think it dropped out again. I don't know why it's that. Femi, please, can you let my other device onto the show? Okay, hold on for a bit. It's coming up. Just give some seconds. Okay, thank you, sir. My other device is now in the show. So I believe you can see my screen. Canteen ordering system, Timothy Yaji. So you're listing, you're making a list of the stakeholders. So the employee or the customer can log into the system. Yeah, don't forget you need to be able to log into the system using it. It saves us the headache of having to create unique login details, unique login IDs for all of the employees. To be able to view and select menu items, you need to place order, edit or cancel order, submit feedback. Thank you. Nobody mentioned this. Submit feedback and log out of the system. Yes, the menu manager. So I believe you're following and you see how this can be challenging in real life, because in the real world, you will have to think about all these things and not leave anything out. So it happens a lot in, happens a lot in initiatives where you are halfway into the project and you remember that you forgot something very critical, something as critical as a logout button. People build applications and they forget to put a logout button. It's as simple as that, a logout button. So you see now we reviewed 2 submissions. Nobody remembered to log out. Now imagine that you are dealing with a much more complicated the possibility, to forget, to leave out critical requirements. So sorry, if you can hear me, please. Sorry, I was interrupted for a bit. If you can hear me, please just signify on the group if you can hear me. So, but the canteen manager is a stakeholder. A stakeholder is not a requirement. There are two different things. Canteen manager is a stakeholder. So we're listing stakeholders. Can you hear me? Please signify if you can. Okay, thank you, Timothy. The canteen manager is a stakeholder, not a requirement. So I explained before that a requirement is functional requirements are activities or activities that are critical to the functionality of the system. So activities that are critical to the working of the system. And without those things, the system will not work. So for instance, the login button is a functional requirement. It has to be there. For the platform to function, there has to be a login button. So let's move on. Menu manager. Then so we got the canteen manager is also a stakeholder. So the menu manager should be able to log into the system, create menu items, update menu items, place order, edit/cancel orders, submit feedback, load of the system. While the canteen manager is also, so there seems to be some little confusion here. So I think that the menu manager and the canteen manager can be one and the same person, depending on the workload. One have to do it. Then the canteen manager should be able to do all of this. So I don't really see the need to have multiple managers, one for many. It's fine. You can always scale depending on the volume of requests. So then we have the canteen manager who can log onto the system, create menu items, update menu items, place orders, view total order placed and request delivery to employees workstation, download order sheets, check delivery status, edit and cancel order, submit. So the canteen manager should not be able to edit order. That should not be there. It shouldn't be able, or she shouldn't be able to cancel order. It should not be able to edit order. So that's not correct. Okay, maybe submit feedback as a canteen manager, fine, and log out of the system. So delivery boy logs into the system, view and select menu items. The delivery boy will not be able to place order. Okay, maybe he can place order if everybody is expected to eat to place order. So even the canteen manager has to place an order. So but I think the place order task here is not functional, if you ask me, because we're talking about the delivery boy as touching his or our function, which is to log on the system, view order status, not even menu items, view order status. You don't need to view menu items. Your job is to view order status, signals that are ready for pickup, print out the order sheet to see, okay, order XYZ is going to table 222 on the floor, 111 to Mr. John Doe, that kind of thing. So then update delivery status. So this is fair enough. Then close the online customer order. Yes, you can close. Then submit feedback, log out the system. So the payroll system, president should be able to access cumulative number of meals ordered by each employee and its total cost per time. Should be able to trigger invoices and share some with the employee by email every time that is closed. She will also deduct cost of meals. So I think he also is on the same page on 10%. So management, show cumulative orders placed, orders closed, this is amount generated, blah, 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 blah. So problem definition, what do we have here? I'm trying to see what Timothy Yaji. So advantages and objectives of this solution. Canteen operations are better structured or more efficient. If there are any questions, let me check quickly. I'm more concerned today about answering questions, and if you like any information about what we talked about the industry, about sourcing business, internship, being our last session in this stream, I'd like to hear from you. So, okay. Let's move on. So some of the objectives are listed here. Increase productive time. So let me say this now. If you have a business, if you run a business and you understand how important this is. If you have a store, for instance, and you have people work for you, now it's not uncommon in this part of the world for members of staff to, to excuse themselves from work and they go spend an hour on what they should spend 10 minutes on. And one of the reasons that this happens again is because of the way the workplace is structured. In more developed countries, you're working for 10 hours and you're going to be 10 hours. If you're going to be getting 30 minutes break, toilet break or something, it's 30 minutes. So working for 9.5 hours, my brother and my sister, is 9.5 hours. No phones, no Facebook, no LinkedIn, no nothing. And get paid per hour. So of course, it's a different arrangement here in Africa, in Nigeria, some parts of the world. So the people just take time off work and they go and spend an hour. And you as the employer, you as the manager of the unit, you know how much the business has lost in that hour he or she is gone. So this is imagine now having to address this on the scale of 1,000 people. Imagine that you now have 1,500 people doing this every day. If you have one member of staff and he or she leaves store or leaves the office or leaves the shop for 30 minutes, you know what you lose. And think about it. When you have 1,500 people potentially leaving their duty post for 30 minutes, 1 hour in a day, that's massive. So I get that's nice. So you understand that this is a real problem. It's a real problem that requires attention. So objectives is to increase revenue for the business, forecast future flow. Okay, I think we talked about all this before now. So existing system versus the new system. Existing system is a manual offline system. A lot of challenges and it has none of the features. So I think existing system. I'm not even sure there's a system to start with. So we have a process. Yeah, people get off their desk, march to the canteen, stay online. So yeah, maybe that's what we have existing. Stay on the line, wait for tables to get cleaned out, place an order, sit down, eat, commute back to their desk, and we have potentially 1,500 people doing that on a daily basis. Think about it. And they use a canteen that can only seat 150 people at a time. That's it. So the POS system is an online canteen ordering system which is user friendly. Okay, you have an interface. Pages can render fast, access the menu, automated invoice generation. You can go on. Okay, so I think I shared this. So this is the scope. This is the future state diagram. This is the future state diagram. I think I can read this. Yeah. So let me just run through this. So we have Mr. Timothy. I think I shared this. I think I shared this with you already. So to answer your question, the task, yes, primarily are unique functions of the actors. Primarily, they're unique. So the task that the canteen manager or the manager undertakes, is not the same that the delivery boy undertakes. Delivery boy is supposed to check order status, see orders that are ready, then pick up the order, delivers to the employee, then updates the order. Either closes ticket or so you update the order, then you close the ticket, close the order. So those tasks are unique to the delivery boy. Maybe in some cases you can have tasks that overlap depending on the scenario, yes. But in this particular scenario, we don't have any tasks that overlap. We shouldn't have, in fact. So this is more or less like a use case diagram for the future state. So we have a current state, it's the use case diagram for the future state. Now, of course, it starts by logging into to the home page, which is of course how you log into the system. Then you see how these are the actors. You see that the primary actors are listed: the employee slash customer, the menu manager, the delivery boy, the management staff. So what does let me pick one at random. What does the delivery boy do? Yeah, you see it clearly here. Delivery boy, follow my cursor. Delivery boy is the one that checks order status. Logs in, he or she logs in, checks order status, then ships to the employee or customer and updates order status. This is just what I said. Then it goes to the end, logs out. Management staff does what? One thing, the manager, the top people just want to view, download, and share reporting and analytics. We want to be able to share reports, view reports. How many wraps of paper sold today? How many plates of rice sold today? How much beef consumed today? How many kg of beef consumed today? We have more people taking beef than chicken. We have more people taking turkey than chicken. We have more people taking pork or taking whatever it is. So it's a Friday. Are there any insights that we can glean? Are there any trends and patterns from this report? Do we have a similar a similar order quantity on Mondays and Fridays and Wednesdays? What's responsible for? So the environment started needing all of this data to make informed decisions. We want to decide if it's justified to have one more delivery boy, or if it's justified to have one more canteen manager. It's justified to have to upgrade the application. Is it even justified to stock some food items? No. So they need to have all the support to justify this decision, to make these decisions. Yeah? So then going to the other step, the menu manager, I'm going to view orders, then review order and send to the chef, pardon me, in the kitchen. So you see now, like I said, in some context, the activities might overlap. In this context, thank you, sir. So the menu manager viewed the orders, checked order, and sent to the chef in the kitchen. But he also must be able to check order status. It's important to check. Okay, so I've sent you 25 orders. Kitchen, I've sent you 25 orders. Within 30 minutes. Why do we have 20 produced? Is it ready? So we're going to check orders. Then the employee makes selection from the menu. I think something is missing. Makes selection from the menu and submit. It's fine. Submit order. We should be able to edit and update. Submit order. Then receives a mail. Then when it receives a mail, submits review. This is fine. It's fine. So I think this works. This works to a very large extent. Thank you, Mr. Timothy Yaji, for this. Let me see what all maps, all diagrams you have. Is that the only one? Is that the only one? Okay, so in scope and out of scope. We talked about this in the last live session we had. I hope that you took learnings. I hope that okay. Just let me see what you have here. So depict the scope using the context diagram. So the login page, what is within the scope of the login page? I want you to understand this very clearly. What is within the scope of the login page? It allows employees, customers login with staff login details. Now the login details does not need to have order cards or menu or order history. Maybe it might have order cards. You can consider it that's a choice you have to make. If you go to some platforms, you have a cart before you even log in. So you just go to a platform, you buy something online, you're shopping online, before you even create login details, you have a cart. You have the items you're selecting and going to the cart. So it's possible to have order cards on the login page even before login. And we have menu lists. So list and update all the time. Now, menu list may not have other details, foods, items, stuff, but I think that is wrong. The menu list may have the food item stock. It says that if you are looking at the menu, there can be a portion of the screen that shows you how much of that food is left. So if you're placing an order for a plate of chicken, sorry, a plate of chicken sauce, you want to be able to see on the other hand to say we have 100 plates left. While you're wasting time trying to place an order, it's updating in real time. You refresh, it becomes 294. Refresh, it becomes 72. If you don't do what you have to do in good time, you get exhausted. So I think it's possible to have a food item stock on the menu list. Then order cards, list and update order items as user place their orders, which is fine. Of course, out of scope will be employee details, out of scope will be order invoice, out of scope will be payroll. So order history stores records of orders with timestamps, order items, order item, delivery time, invoice status, paid and unpaid. So it's fine. I think this is a point. So now reporting and analytics may not necessarily be out of scope. The customer might also have their own reporting, their own access to some reporting, and they won't have access to the business-wide data. They have access to their own data, which is how much have I bought, how many times did I take rice, how many times in the past month did I take the bag. You might also have access, so it's not actually out of scope, you might have access to some data analytics. So order invoices stores invoices for every order. So I think pretty much this works for us. So thank you, Mr. Timothy. Let me see. Do you have anything else? You can anything else we look at? Okay. Check this already. Entity relation diagram. Did anybody try that? Okay. Okay. So what you're doing actually is not what you're doing here is fantastic because it's also very similar to a process map where you see different use cases on the same map. So what the customer does, we have learning manager, we have team manager, logs in, views and selects menu items, then the customer places an order, edits, cancels order, submits feedback, logs. It makes sense. This makes sense. Makes sense. So now you see. Let me speak to this solution a little bit. So now you see that after you have recommended a solution, you have to interpret that solution in form of designs. Don't forget what we said the first and second class. A design is a usable representation of a solution. If you have a solution already designed that you don't have complete solution, you can talk from now to forever. You can have 10 sheets, volumes of solution, but you need to have design. So your design is a usable representation of the solution. So it is much easier for the developers, for the engineers, for the project team, for the people that will be doing the solution to work with these charts, with these diagrams that you have. This is the design, than to work with a note, a long note, 15 page, 20 page. So a design, like I said, is a usable representation of a solution. So if you have taken nothing away from this whole ownership program, some basic things you're dealing with. Now you understand what requirements are, you know what business requirements are, you know what social requirements are, functional and non-functional, you know what scope, within scope and out of scope items are, you know about design, you know about needs, problems, solutions. So these are very cogent things. So I think we've already gotten to, we should end the class very soon, but I want us to dedicate enough time, good time to interaction, to questions. So I'd like for you to ask questions. I'll try my best to answer. Onya or Yahaya, welcome. You're over 1 hour late, but it's fine. Yeah, welcome, welcome. So questions, Yaji, Timothy, Chinon, so Bolu, Moshe, Yahaya, welcome to ask questions. Welcome to, if there's anything you'd like for me to clarify, you're welcome to speak to it. I will talk briefly on the internship program, but I want you guys to speak first. So I'll just continue. I'll just talk about internship while you probably get ready to ask a question. So we sourcing business is willing to of course willing to absorb some of the participants of this program to an internship. Excuse me. And we sent out a form, a Google form yesterday. The form, I think it's just 6 or 7 questions. So if you're interested in participating in the mentorship program, if you have some time on your hands, of course, the requirements are clear. So you need to be able to commit a minimum of 10 hours per week to the internship, between 10 and 15 hours per week to the internship. You can do more, but at the minimum 10 hours, you must have a work computer of your own. Then you need to upload a video, 2 minute video, please, 2 minute video, not with length not greater than 2 minutes, sharing your experience on the mentorship program, what you've learned, how it has helped you, what you can now do that you couldn't do before, and talk about the internship when you're applying for the internship. So complete the form, we'll review in the course of the week, then we'll reach out to you. So we've got internship rules for content strategist, business analysis intern, product manager intern, data science intern. So we've got rules upon rules that we intend to fill. Now these are internship rules. These are not paid rules. However, you get a stipend. Of course, it's an internship rule, so you won't get paid like getting paid for working full time. But of course, you get paid some stipend as an intern. Because whatever it is, you're an intern. You of course you need to take care of basic needs and more corporate data, computer power. That. So yes, you get paid a stipend. You get paid a stipend for the internship. Yes, but uh, apply first. Let's get your applications. And I want, if possible, if you can get all the applications within this week, next week, before Thursday next week, I'd like to have your application so we can vet them. Someone will require that we meet you one-on-one for interview, of course, virtually. And we'll talk about your experience, what you've learned, and how you think can add value to our organization. So let me also say that we have different companies partnering with sourcing business. There are different companies partnering with sourcing business for this initiative, in the sense that if you are taken as an intern, you will not actually work with sourcing business. There are other companies that also the partner companies that you might be working with. Some of them even do stuff that sourcing business does not do now. So you can get can get internships as a product manager or as a mobile web developer or business analyst, e-commerce analyst, digital marketer. So there are lots of roles we're looking to fill, and please go ahead to apply. We shared the form on the group yesterday and all the platforms yesterday. We hope to hear from you soon. So Timothy Yajila wants clarification. So Process map. Now, this is what I was saying. A process map is encompassing in the sense that almost anything can be referred to as a process map. So the process map is, of course, like I said before, it defines the processes in a business state, in a business scenario. So the processes that make up any business scenario. The map itemizes the activities. So a process map is a word, it's a term used very loosely. You can use very loosely. Matter of fact, you can refer to an activity diagram as a process map. You can refer to entity relationship diagram hierarchy as a process map. So it's like an umbrella term used for whatever maps processes or activities. Now, entity relationship diagram. This is, as the word suggests, entity. So this maps entities. So this determines this explains how entities are related. So for instance, how is the activity of a delivery boy related to that of the cancer manager? You find that in the ERD. How is what the menu manager does related to what my man does? That in the ERD. Now, I think that should explain it. Then the use case diagram. So there are use cases. A use case is a set of activities geared towards achieving an objective within a given context. A use case is a set of activities geared towards achieving a specific objective within a given context. So it's simple. Let me explain that. So it means that if you have an application, like a software, for instance, every value that can be delivered can be expressed as a use case. So, for instance, this canteen management platform. On that platform, a delivery boy can pick items from the kitchen and deliver to an employee or a customer. That is one use case. On that platform, the manager or the CEO can log on and look at how much food has been bought, how much money has been, how much money has been, how much revenue, pardon me, has come in the past 1 month. That's a use case. So a use case speaks to a set of activities that deliver specific value within a context. So you find that in a single application, you have many use cases. For instance, I'm trying to look for examples that are not only restricted to this case study, so that you can expand your thinking. So some people use okay, there's this thing they call rubber band or ring, rubber ring. This rubber for banks use that rubber ring to hold money. Some people use it to hold broken phones. That's a rubber ring, yes. You can say quote unquote, but it has many use cases. That's a very, very basic example. What I mean in essence is we have you can have a solution, a large solution, a large platform. We can even have a single solution, but it can be used differently. And I'm sure if you're familiar with product strategy, you have heard people say that we have heard people say it's like let the customer tell you how they want to use your product. A lot of times when you build platforms, you have to listen to your customers. You have to let them tell you how they want to use your products. A lot of times when we business people, entrepreneurs, when we start business, when we create businesses, we have a use case in mind, yes. But in the end, customers decide to use those applications differently, which is why in the end you find applications come and they begin to adapt to what customer wants. For Gmail, for instance, Google, for instance, when Gmail came first, became a thing. After a while, Gmail started introducing some new features. Google Drive. Before Gmail, I think we had Dropbox. So many of them. Then now Gmail came and understood that okay, so you want to send some things over the email, and you cannot upload from the computer. but it's easier to upload to a cloud to come up with Google Drive. Now, it's possible for a business to evolve from a single use case to multiple use cases. So there are now multiple ways that customers can meet their needs with that same solution. So a use case speaks to a set of activities that fulfills that meets a particular demand, a particular requirement, customer requirements. I mean, and within a given context. So if you look at this, we have different use cases. Use case for the canteen manager. Now, so that's it for use case. A scope diagram. So now, I think the scope diagram stands out. It's not even similar in any way to this. Scope diagram stands out. Something is either within scope or out of scope. Now, the agile approach. So will it be appropriate to represent use case diagrams separately for each function? Okay, of course, it's possible. It depends on what you intend to communicate. So Timothy is asking if it would be appropriate to represent use case diagrams separately for each function in the system when depicting it. So it's possible. It depends on what you intend to communicate. So a lot of times, what happens in the real world is when you're presenting a design, maybe to your superiors or to a customer or to a potential clients, what happens is you have something like this on the screen. We have a combination of all use cases on one chart. Then you go ahead to decompose. So move on to, of course, go to other slides. Then you bring out each of the use cases and dive deeper. So yes, it makes sense, depending on how you intend to communicate it. So I would advise that you show the big picture because it's important to have a big picture. You can't just decompose and show different. It has to make sense. It has to make sense. The big picture has to make sense. All those individual elements, use cases must make sense as a whole. So you want to have a diagram, business diagram that captures all the use cases and shows how they complement each other, how the activities complement each other. Then you can go ahead to decompose and zoom in on each of the use cases. For instance, you cannot come from what we have on the screen now. You can come to say, okay, so let me take out the delivery boy use case. Take it out, then now convert that into like a context diagram. Now provide more context. So delivery boy, what do we have? Let me see. Let me do a quick one. So now say, okay, delivery boy, login. So you cannot have something like bring out that use case, then break it down to a context and say delivery boy logs in with, maybe you don't feel, maybe delivery won't log in with staff ID. Don't forget other members of staff have staff ID. Delivery may not be a staff of the organization. So maybe you say logs in with name and so ID. Also view customer orders. So delivery can only view customer orders, does not have access to maybe some details. You can say delivery may not be able to see the grade or the designation of the customers. They can see their names and their table numbers. Whereas the canteen manager can see, the employees can see all that. So now you cannot bring out this use case and begin to dive deeper to create further context. Don't forget, you're doing all these designs you're doing, designing, you're bringing this down to a point where it can be used for implementation. So you want it to come really low level, not too low level as in project planning, or sprint planning. It has to come low level enough for the developers to understand what we intend to achieve. So we bring out this delivery use case, talk about how he or she will log in, the kind of access you have to view customer orders, then close the online customer order. So you might even say that when he or she closes the order, it doesn't close. The canteen manager has to vet and confirm that he or she has done justice before closing the order. So you see now, that could have been captured in this diagram. You probably have to take this out and provide more context to that particular use case. So I hope this answers the question. Okay, so I want to talk about something I've forgotten now, but I hope I remember in the course. session. So any more questions? Bolu, I must say, okay. Oh yeah. Ujunwa is not here today. Okay. It's good, it's good. So if there are no other questions, we would come to the end of the session. And please fill the forms that have been sent to you. Make your videos, the 2-minute videos, and submit latest by Thursday. Try to submit it by Thursday next week. Thursday is the 12th of May. So on 12th of May, we would review the submissions and decide to reach out to you if you're successful. We schedule an interview for the internship program, and you can take it forward from there. So, Mr. Yaji, in the hierarchy of actors, as demonstrated by our case study, are we not supposed to have admin now already? Okay, so yeah, this is a very interesting question. So you will already see that we may not be able to address this question within the context of the use case. These are low-level details. Yeah, this is why after you have recommended the solution, you have a design. Now, design is usually high level, so to speak. Yeah, you have a solution you recommended. You are not an IT expert. You're a business analyst. Now, at the point of defining privileges, it goes beyond being a BA or doing BA work. So we want to define privileges for the admin, for the delivery boy. So this is when you now begin to collaborate, begin to engage other stakeholders, collaborate with engineers, developers to say, so what are the privileges? What should the CEO have access to? What should the canteen owner have access? What should other employees have access to? So you can define privileges, but at a much lower level, not at the use case level. You can define privileges maybe at the activity diagram level, at the context diagram level. So when you begin to provide context to stakeholders, who does what and how. So I think that's so where the admin would have all privileges, but they have to be defined across the board for all stakeholders. So I think I've been able to answer your question. So I'm sorry, some of you have come to my DM and ask me questions. Sorry, I get very busy and I'm not able to respond to messages. Apologies, but as many as you can answer, now. Please, let's do it. We've got 5 more minutes. So any questions, any concerns about the internship program, about the next stream? So we are starting our next stream, the sourcing business mentorship program. The next stream starts in June. And for those who were not able to participate in this one, those who registered couldn't participate, those who started with us but couldn't finish for one reason or the other. The next stream starts in June, and we're enjoying you to join again. Of course, register to join. I look forward to seeing you. Okay, that's my time. In the absence of questions, I will say goodbye for me. Have a good weekend. Thank you. Okay, Timothy, yes, you'll get it.